Welcome back to the second part of our restoration. We have made a little bit of progress on our McCONELL PA93. If you haven't watched the first one, maybe you should go and watch it first before you get the update in this, and then that way you'll know a little bit more about what's happening before we show you any more. So a lot of sanding is done. It took quite a bit of time to get it all sanded down. You might have seen a bit of that in the last video, but we had it all ready, all wiped down then, and we put etch primer on it. I've masking taped a lot of stuff off. Very hard to cover them pipes with plastic because I need to get in here with the spray gun, so I ended up having to wrap them with masking tape. A few rows of masking tape's not very expensive, and just covered everything I could to keep any overspray to a minimum if possible. So the whole tank is all sanded down, etch primer's all on it. It'll probably get another coat or another little bit of a sand down before the actual proper primer goes onto it, getting it ready for paint. But the etch primer's on, it's sealed, and it's actually sealed underneath as well, if you can have a look here. It's in pretty good style so far. Now, I've been working on these guards, we'll get to that in a second. I've taken them off. I had to loosen the pipes, that's why they're hanging down slightly. We've a tap here that we're working on as well. The actual lever on that, it's a little grey knob on that there, it's probably just in the sun and things, it cracked and then it just broke off. But we may rebuild that tap. There's just a little bit of a sore clip in there that removes, you can pull the whole thing out and rebuild it. We'll see what it's like. All I need to do is a little hole there, I need to put on some sort of little lever. I think the lever itself was very, very hard to get from McCONELL, and it's going to take a long time to come, so I didn't bother ordering it. I think I'll just stick a tap lever or make something to suit. Even I have to put a dot of weld on a little bit of plate, anything at all just to turn it would do. So we'll sort that out ourselves rather than anything. This guard here, this bracket that holds the guard is badly broke here. Someone done a real bodge job on it. I'm going to get a new piece of bar, and I'm going to put a brand new piece, make it complete, take these pieces off and reuse them, just make a brand new complete bracket to hold that on, be much more secure than having a heap of bodge stuff on here and it just looks messy. So put that on, I'll repaint just that section as well. See, we've done quite a bit of work on the head of the trimmer as well. So remember the plate, there was a dented plate on the top. I know it's covered in kind of dust in here. That's the worst thing about in the shed. Although it's dry and clean and all, with the amount of wind and things that we've had, with a vent on the roof like that, dust keeps blowing in. And I have been working on other parts of the hedge cutter as well, I suppose, and the dust and that's blowing in as well. So you remember there was a lot of denting whole way across, just this section here. So what I done was, I didn't cut it out because it's part of a bigger piece that's underneath that goes the whole way to the back of the head. This here is kind of a double plate. This is a double plate, but this was the only thinnest part of the whole head, and that's why it was more prone to denting. So I got a new plate and I welded it on straight on top of it, which definitely strengthened it up, tidied that whole place up so it look factory when it's painted, and you never know that anything was ever put onto it. That's what it should look like, hopefully, when the paint goes on. And I've got a nice bit of weld on, it's quite easy to weld, so I'm glad I've done it that way, and it'll add a wee bit of strength without adding really any weight worth talking about onto it. But the most significant thing that we got done was this guard. There's Mount View Engineering in Mountain Lodge in County Cavan. Really went to work on this. The only part of this that's original is the two sides, that and the other side as well. And basically, we looked at it and he told me it'd take that much work to straighten and repair the part that was on it. It just wouldn't be worth it. The amount of time you put into it and it'd still never be perfectly fit. It would be far safer just cut that piece off completely and rebuild the entire thing to make it look as factory as possible. So that's what he done. It was worth doing. I'm really glad we did do it. If you can get a look here underneath, completely newly rebuilt. I don't know how well the GoPro will show it up. GoPro is not overly great in low light conditions, but maybe you'd be fit to get a good enough look at it. But it's just really, really well done. It's all one piece, so it's not welded around, it's folded in place like the original. I have to bore holes here across because there's a plate to go on there, and then there's the curtain, the rubber curtain or rubber, the little tails that'll hang down to protect the tractor from anything flying. And that's there brand new as well, so they'll have to be drilled out just and put in place. Haven't put any etch primer on that because literally got that back yesterday, and it was a little bit tight in getting it fitted back on, but it's better tight than loose. We put new bolts, as we say, on everything, but it fitted on. I had to grind a little bit just to get it to slide in, and I didn't want to have it too tight. You have to batter it in, so we just grind a little bit off, took a little bit of time with the grinder, and then it just slid into place. It will need edge primer very soon, but I think my man is coming tomorrow to have a look at it. Tomorrow or the next day, just to have a look at it, or maybe even this evening. He was talking about actually he might even pop around this evening, which is Saturday today, so, and have a quick look at it and see what needs to be done to it. So as I said before, we're not doing a full respray. I didn't buy it for that purpose. If I was going to go down that lane, I would have bought the fresher one that was there, only it was a lot more money. So I'm not going to go into full respray on it yet. For now, I'm going to just fix and tidy up the main parts that are rusted. As I say, there's nothing structurally wrong with this hedge cutter. It's flying. It's just cosmetics. So we're just going to, well, that guard was damaged, I suppose. That did need to be replaced and fixed. But apart from that, we'll get that all edge primed and we get the main parts all resprayed, and that will tidy it up an awful lot. It will look an awful lot better. Like I said in the last video, the first part of this, in these kind of jobs, you have to just pick a finish line and kind of stick to it, because you'd be tempted to go on, oh, sure, maybe I'll spray this, maybe I'll spray that. But my intentions is, I'm after buying a new compressor, much bigger than the one that I had. I have a spray bottle. I have a sandblasting kit kind of ordered. We'll talk about that down the line, because I have the shear grab head to do and a few things to do, and I just said, and it might be worth investing in a small, simple sandblasting kit now that I have a bigger compressor. So that's something to watch out for. We'll be doing a little bit of video on the compressor. We actually set it up today and we did video it. So we'll be sharing that with you as well. Any users that are interested in air compressors and things like that, they are very handy around every farm. So my idea is down the line, we get this all tied up and straightened up. I want to give it a good bit of use for this season, just to make sure that everything is perfect on it and everything is working as it should. And if we get a good season out of it and it works really well, then we will deal with other bits of cosmetic things. So we can do the arm next year, parts of the body work next year as well. So there's not been an awful lot left to do once we get these main parts done. As I say, there's the front curtain there. I'm not going to open it, but there's the front curtain there. It's a whole kit, and there's the plate that goes on it that holds that front rubber guard in place. The back one is badly damaged. So it's one piece compared to that one there, which is several pieces together. But it's badly tore here, and I don't know what to put in its place. A new one that comes with the bracket and all is 180, 190 euro, and I'm not going to put that on it a year. I'm not going to invest that kind of money in it, because I'll have enough in it by the time it's painted and all. So I may patch this one, or I may try to find an alternative. It is only a piece of rubber. Well, it's a certain type of rubber with a fabric in the middle of it as well. But if you know anything that could possibly replace that, of a cheaper alternative, let me know. I know an ordinary mud flap or something like that's not going to cut it. The branches would probably rip through it. That's why there's that kind of a nylon cloth material running through it to give it that extra bit of strength. So probably will end up putting the original one on it, but definitely not going to do it this year. We're going to make it work this year, and just that it does its job, and we'll repair them things later on. So as we continue on around here, we can see that I'm also going to be spraying this part here. It was badly rusted. There's a lot of rust in here, and just in these corners where water does pool and kind of stay, and there was a lot of rust there. So we're going to be respraying that, tidying that up as well. Everything else is going to be left. I still have to do a bit of masking tape. Them bags and things aren't going to be staying. That was only for me to put on the edge primer, but they're not going to be staying there for him to do his spraying. I'm going to get a little bit of that clear plastic that painters use. I'm going to wrap up the pump and things just to leave more room, because that is very, very tight to get in there. And I want to leave him room that he can get in and get spraying all them things. A wee bit too tight there with the plastic and things. They take up a lot of room. But we'll fix that up a little bit better before he comes. This is the other back panel that fits onto the oil tank. No dents in it. It was very, very straight. There was a couple little cracks in the corners which we welded and then grind down and then painted. This here is the little lever that goes on here, the front. All that basically does is the breaker. When she's leaned back, you put a little rope in the cab and it drops this little hook down and holds it in the transport position. That's all that is. This is the actual stand, if you want to call it, that sits behind the head that protects the pipes. So it sits just behind the head. So if you wanted to rest the actual arm on the ground, this comes into play, and it doesn't let you bend the pipes or hit the pipes. So it's going to be sprayed as well. This here is that front bracket that I talked about, that's going to be holding the front curtain, as I call it, or the protective rubber on the front. So that's just that rail there. So we'll be putting that up against it and drilling our holes the same as what's on that bar as well. So it'll be painted too. And then we get over to our A-frame. Again, nice bit of sanding done on it. It wasn't in bad condition. There was a couple of sharp edges on it. Something just maybe twisted, or something just caught on it, or something just from wear. And a couple of the edges have got really, really sharp. So we grinded them down. Again, give it a hell of a good sanding, and etch primed it as well. So it's ready to be sprayed as well. So there's quite a few bits and pieces done to it. This cap here is going to be polished, and then we put a clear coat over it just to keep it from rusting again. And when we get all that done, as I said before, we have a guy coming from the Decal Shed. I'll put a link in the description. You'll just see it pop up here now at the bottom of the screen, the name of his Facebook page. He's actually going to come himself and fit the stickers. He just rather himself to come and show me how they're put on, just to make a real good job of it, seeing I am going the extra bit on it. He contacted me, a really, really nice fella called Colin. He was talking about his business and things, and he's 30 years at making stickers, signs, things like that. So if any of you have machinery, whether it's vintage or whatever, even right up to modern day machinery, and say if it got damaged or something, the genuine stickers, they're no different. Reproduction stickers can be every bit as good, but you're paying maybe 2 or 3 times the price for them stickers. So he seems to be a fella who knows what he's talking about. He describes the type of stickers they are. They're a vinyl type sticker that's gone on it, I think, or something along that line. But they seem to be real good quality, and they will be exactly like factory. He even went to the extreme of going and looking at other hedge cutters, because some of the stickers, especially the one that sits here on this tank, there's a big warning sticker there, and mine was worn off, so you couldn't actually see what was on the sticker. So he asked me to send him WhatsApp pictures of each individual sticker that was on it, so that he could replicate them and reproduce them. But this sticker was all faded, along with a lot of other ones was a lot faded, so I couldn't actually show him. All I could show him was the size of it. So he messaged me then a few days later and went. He said he actually knew of where there was another one of these hedge cutters sitting. He went, took more pictures of all the ones I couldn't get, and he said, it's fine, he says, I have it all took care of. Everything will be as original looking, as factory looking as possible. So a really, really nice chap. Went over and above to help me with getting everything set up. If you have machinery like mine, or tractor, or a bit of vintage machinery that you're doing up, the link will be in the description. I think his number's on Facebook as well, so send him a message, tell him who sent you, and I'd say he'll look after you. So another piece that we got done was these pipe guards. As you can see, the ones there were very badly damaged. You can see quite clearly there that was the one that actually goes down towards the head of the hedge cutter, and it was broken off over there beside the stud, and it was just all bent and crushed. Very common on hedge cutters. They're not very heavy material, and look, they're just prone to taking batter, and then I suppose when they get bent, fellas stick the hammer to them and try to straighten them and make the whole thing worse. That one's not just as bad, but it's seen better days. So we got a couple made exactly the same size, just fresh. So when they are primed, painted and restickered, it will really, really clean up the arm on the hedge cutter. So I said I'd get them done as well, because there's no point in trying to root them there. They're past it, and for the sake of a wee bit of steel, and it's not very heavy steel, and it didn't take very long to put together, it was worth just getting them refolded and remade. So our man is coming to spray it. Hopefully this week's going to be sprayed. I have quite a busy week planned. I have a bit of concrete been done around my own house and things to be done, so it's going to be a right busy week. We're working away on the loader. We had the shear head all finished now and on it, and we have the actual, remember the towed access, we hadn't it wired, with that done. I'll do a little bit of video. I'll probably include other stuff in that video as well, just to give you an update on it fully working. But we're really happy with it turned out. But we're more or less fully finished now with the loader. We just maybe a little bit of paint down the lane. Again, I have my own compressor, but I'm hoping when my spray man is here, he's going to just show me how to actually do a bit of spraying myself. I have a fair idea. It's just more the mixing of the paint, if anything, and I just want to do it right. So it's probably something that I'd like to learn, and I'll get him to show me a few just different tricks on how to clean up your spray pot as well after you're done. So just simple little things. When you've never done it before, it's great to have someone just to show you how to do it. So he's going to be here this week. He'll get it sprayed. I will capture some footage of him spraying. I won't annoy him when he's doing it, but I will come in and capture some footage of it being sprayed. I know those users that are really interested in this hedge cutter, these are messaging me on Instagram, on Facebook. It's been inundated with messages. I suppose the case and the loader just really took out, especially the last video I done. I mentioned which type of bay lifter I might go for. I haven't made a choice yet. I have been down with Evan. I have actually bought something with Evan Riley in Lakeland Machinery. I'm going to show you that in the next video. But yeah, cool little bit of kit. It's a really handy bit of kit, and I have to have it with a loader. So we picked that up yesterday in Lakeland Farm Machinery in Castleblaney. But when I mentioned the bay lifter I'm going to be buying, now I have actually spoken to Evan about different bay lifters, and he has recommended the Flemings and the Rossmore. Fleming is probably what I'm going to lean towards. I know the Flemings mightn't be the heaviest built, but it doesn't have that bar across the front, so your visibility is a little bit improved. So we will be buying at Lakeland Machinery, probably next month or the month after. I'm just not sure yet, but we will be. When I mentioned the different brands and asked your opinion on it, I was overwhelmed with the response. I think we're well over 200 comments on that YouTube video, but it's actually the private messages which took out. Facebook, between Facebook and Instagram, I reckon I got about 300 messages easily. Private messages of people sending me pictures of what they have. I even had neighbours who watch my videos as well, asking me to come up and take theirs and borrow it and use theirs for a while and see what I think, which is really good. There's some really good neighbours out there. YouTube has just opened an amazing amount of doors for me. I go to places now and I find I'm meeting people that I have no idea who they are, and they come up to me and they're having a chat and they're telling me how much they're enjoying the videos and stuff, and that's really nice. That's a really nice feeling. So it's worth it just to hear people's comments and to hear that people are maybe learning a couple of tips and tricks. It's not that I have a whole pile of them, but any I have, I'll share, and I'm glad that it helps you out if it does, and I'll continue to do so. But yeah, it's a really nice feeling. I'm speaking to people I've never spoken to before. I'm learning stuff I've never learned before. The comments that you're putting in, I'm reading them all. May not get back to them all, but I am reading them all. People are really generous, and people are really keen to help others. That's what I'm finding. People are really keen, if they have any knowledge, to pass it on. So that's great, and I thank you for that. And it's a real good community that I have. I've got a real good fan base that are always keen to help. So without yous, I wouldn't be making these videos. So thanks very much. With that said, that's the end of today's video. The next video you're going to see was one I made last week. I just wanted to get this one up tomorrow because it is a bank holiday, and Tuesday I'm going to put up another one. I'm going to put up the calves being dosed. That is not just your standard calf dosing video, so maybe it's worth just keeping an eye out for that one. Also, we're doing a video of our new compressor being fitted and the bit of accessories we've got for that, and we're also going to be doing a video on the disc mower versus the topper. So it's already actually done. I just have to sit down now and edit it. So I have a load of editing to do now in the next couple of days, but it's a bank holiday. I'll sit down, get a chance now, and get all these videos put together and get maybe 3 videos out next week. Certainly get a video out on Sunday or Monday. This video will be up, and then hoping to put something up on Tuesday, Friday and the following Sunday. So we'll catch up on things happening. I'm just after getting a phone call from my spray man. He'll be here in a few minutes, which is great. So with that said, folks, thanks very much for watching. If you haven't subbed, please hit that sub button, give us a like, put a comment in the comment section. We'll do our best to get back to them all. Hit that little bell in the right hand corner and notify you of all our videos when they're up. Until the next one, we'll catch you again.